Hello, everyone. I'm Marissa Gavoto, the Vice President of Human Resources. Welcome to today's presentation for our management training for ABC Manufacturing Company. The agenda listed for today are the topics we'll be covering. We'll be covering essential topics that are important for our company, and we'll cover topics such as state federal employment law, equal opportunity employment and diversity, civil rights law and discrimination, American with Disabilities Act, Family and Medical Leave Act, Fair Labor and Standards Act, sexual harassment, and the most important, safety at work. The laws we will be covering today are essential in our management training for our company. We want to make sure we are abiding by the employment laws since we want our staff to feel comfortable in a working professional environment. I do want to emphasize that we want to make sure our staff feels comfortable in a working professional environment, which means we want to make sure that our staff is comfortable and we do not discriminate. We treat everyone fairly regardless of their race, color, religion, sex, including gender identity, sexual orientation and pregnancy, national origin, age 40 or older, disability or genetic information. According to the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, it's also illegal to retaliate against a person because he or she complained about discrimination, filed a charge of discrimination, or participated in an employment discrimination investigation or lawsuit. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the Civil Rights Act covers manufacturing contractors and subcontractors must make good faith efforts to achieve goals set by OFCCP for the employment of women and minorities in all crafts and trades on their work sites. These contractors and subcontractors must pursue such goals on all their work, whether or not federally or federal assisted. They must include a specific opportunity clause in each of their non-exempt contracts and subcontracts. I also want to cover the American Disabilities Act. According to the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which enforces Title I of the ADA, Title I prohibits private employers, state and local governments, employment agencies, and labor unions from discriminating against qualified individuals with disabilities in applying for jobs, hiring, firing, and job training. In a managerial position, we must accommodate our workers with their disability and find a position that will accommodate their disability if they qualify for the position. I also want to cover Family Medical Leave Act. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, Family and Medical Leave Act requires employers of 50 or more employees to give up to 12 weeks of unpaid job protective leave to eligible employees for the birth or adoption of a child, or for the serious illness of an employee or a spouse, child, or parent. For workers to be eligible, they must be an employee of at least a year within the company or work 1,250 hours. Managers must make sure that for those employees that do choose to go on medical leave of absence, their job will be protected. In our company, we need to make sure that we do not terminate, lay off, or demote anyone because they needed time off to care for their family. Next is the Wage and Fair Labor Standards Act and equal pay. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, there is a minimum. The minimum wage federally is $7.25 per hour, effective July 24, 2009. Many states also have minimum wage laws. in cases where an employee is subject to both state and federal minimum wage laws, the employee is entitled to the higher minimum wage. For overtime, for those working 40 hours or more per week, must receive overtime pay, which the pay is usually 1.5 times the regular rate of pay. For the hours worked, ordinarily include all the time during which an employee is required to be on the employer's premises on duty or at a prescribed workplace. For record keeping, employers must display an official poster outlining the requirements of the FLSA. Employers must also keep employee time and pay records. Also, the Equal Pay Act are for men and women to have the same amount of salary while they work the same position, which requires the same skill, work condition, and same responsibilities. This applies to any promotions and advancements in the company. We must abide by their skill sets and work ethic, regardless of their sexual orientation. I also want to make sure that there is zero tolerance when it comes to sexual harassment and violence in the workplace. Again, as a managerial position, we want to provide our management and staff in a professional and safe working environment. According to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, manufacturing work sites can have workers employed by multiple entities. Another example of promising practice is a general contractor to provide an anonymous hotline to receive complaints for all workers. In addition, confirming that every subcontractor has implemented its own complaint channel. Also, it discusses the risk factors in the industry that increases the likelihood of harassment, such as workforces that are primarily male, workplaces where there is pressure to conform to traditional stereotypes, and workplaces that are decentralized. The manufacturing company industry is a high hazard industry where workers engage in many dangerous activities that may expose them to serious hazards. According to OSHA, examples of dangerous activities that are relatable to our company, such as heavy guarded machinery, being struck by heavy equipment. We also want to make sure our staff is being safe at all times. Furthermore, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, OSHA enforces the law through workplace inspections and investigations. Thank you for taking your time in attending this presentation, and thank you for keeping our staff safe in a professional working environment.